Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Kingdoms. And today I have another video for my free-to-play friends. I'm gonna give you guys today 5 builds, 5 free-to-play builds that will change your experience, will change your life as a free-to-play experience in Rise of Kingdoms. Now you guys let me know if any of you will have all these marches and then can do all these talents builds that I'm also going to show you with these builds. You let me know if this is not going to change your experience as free-to-play. Let's just get started. There's nothing more to say about epic commanders, because epic commanders can be very easily obtained throughout the gold chest or throughout your gaming experience and can be maxed out either skills or stars. So this should never be a problem for any free-to-play, giving time. Now, as I said, 5 builds. Okay, I'm giving you 5 builds as free to play. I'm not going to include a single legendary. Everything that I'm going to tell you right now is just going to be epics. The first build is going to be Sun Tzu primary with Eulji Mundok secondary. Now, these are the only 2 infantry epic commanders that we have in the game with infantry specializations, because that's why they are called infantry commanders. The reason I choose Sun Tzu primary, because all these 5 builds that I'm going to show you, they are nuking builds. They are builds that they will help you as free to play to take down your target, because this is what is most important when you actually fight in a war or when you actually are on a battlefield and you're fighting. You want to take down your target, you want to take down your enemy. So these 5 builds that I'm gonna tell you, they are focused on swarming a target, which this is something that you should be focusing on, having the troops for it. And then you can see the difference about hurting pay-to-win players and how you can actually hurt the pay-to-win players. So the first build is going to be Sun Tzu primary with Eulji Mundok secondary. Now, as I mentioned, the reason I'm going to put Sun Tzu primary is because of his talent builds, because he has the skill. By having the skill, that means that he's gonna empower the skill talent, will empower the primary skill of both commanders, which both commanders, they are focused on dealing nuke damage or skill damage. So for that reason is Sun Tzu primary, so you can empower their primary skill. And you can look at the Eulji Mundok on his primary skill. He does direct damage fact, that means he does skill damage as well, while reducing the target's defense by 30%. So that's something extra. Now imagine when 5 armies are hitting the same target and you're reducing the defense by 30% for 2 seconds. There's going to be quite some damage in those 2 seconds on that target. Not to mention that Sun Tzu does also AoE, so there's a little bit on extra in this, plus a lot of additional rage restoration for each target it hits. So there you go, you're gonna have tankiness, you're gonna have AoE damage, and on the same time you're gonna debuff the target that you're hitting as much as possible using your Eulji Mundok. Obviously only infantry should be brought with this setup. So this was the first one, Sun Tzu primary and Eulji secondary, and I said that I'm gonna show his build. This is my Garrison build. You can check my Garrison updated video, and this is his infantry build. So if you noticed that I have almost full infantry except Snare of Thorns, and for that reason, the reason I haven't choose that is so you can get all these goodies from the skill talent tree, including Rejuvenate, which is additional rage restoration to the main skill of Sun Tzu. And then you have Clarity plus other skill bonuses or talent boosting your skill, all for one. You also have some reduced skill damage taken and so on. So there's only good stuff that you can get from the skill talent path. And then obviously you need the infantry, so you can boost your infantry troops. All these talent builds that I'm showing you, they are also on my Discord. The link to the Discord is going to be in the description of the video, and you can find them there with colors, and it's going to be much easier to understand, so you know which steps you have to do, because you probably don't have a level 6 Sun Tzu, level 60 Sun Tzu, you probably have a level 50, level 45 Sun Tzu, so that way you know which stage you should keep going, so you can progress with the talents as you keep leveling up your commander. Now the second build that I'm advising, that is for archers, and that is going to be Hermann primary and Osman secondary. Now this is going to be your prime nuking team. This is going to be your cherry on top of the tree. This is going to be the team that is going to do the most damage, for various reasons. First of all, from the epic commanders, they have the highest nuke available, 1150. On top of that, decreases the target's rage and silence them for 2 seconds, and Osman has 1100. So this is the highest nuke from epic commanders available right now in the game. These two has, not to mention that an extra 400 direct damage factor you get from Osman, plus another 10% troops capacity. Now you're noticing that his troops capacity is 236,000. That's because of his talents, but primary should be Osman, because you want to bring archer with this pairing. You want to put Hermann primary, you want to put Osman secondary, and you just want to bring archer with this particular build, and that will be reduced by another 6,000. So in total you will have 220,000. I'm having the 10,000 capacity because of VIP 14, so you'll be able to have in this group 220,000 archers, and that will give you a superiority on top whoever you are fighting with. Now if you use a 50% army expansion, this will bring you to like 320,000 archers. Now that's gonna be some seriously large amount of nuke that you can bring on the battlefield. Hermann also boosts your archers with march speed, and mobility is very important on the battlefield, because you can either get faster or you can chase your enemy, you know, bring them down, hunt them down, or you can run away from the battlefield. Attack bonus to the archers, that always helps. And then there is this one, increased normal attack damage of troops by 10%, and attacks has a chance to grant an additional 100 rage. This is very significant, because rage restoration is very important for any nuker or any skill damage dealer. Right, his expertise is just gonna empower his primary skill with more nuking, but the final damage factor is 1150. And the additional damage factor from Osman, the 400, also applies after Hermann is going to use his primary skill. So altogether there is quite a seriously large amount of nuking that you can do with this build, plus rage restoration and all that. So there's only awesome and good things about this build. So you have the first one. Now this is the second one, Hermann and Osman. Now this is the talent builds that you want to build for Hermann. I'm sorry. You can see that there is a lot of rage restoration. You have all the good parts that you need from the archer talent tree, including the mobility, the march speed, the skill damage, everything. Phoenix tail, that's some extra damage with a 10% chance. Nothing crazy, but good to have. Additional damage, nothing wrong in that. You have razor sharp, full quiver, and then you go to the skill. With this is what makes it so important, the archer or any nuking or skill commander. This is what makes them so good, the skill talent pattern. That's why you want this as primary, because you have archers, you want to boost your archers with the archer talent pad, and then you want to boost your skill damage, because that's what your commanders are oriented in. So that's why you want the skill talent tree. And again, same as Sun Tzu, you probably noticed that you have rejuvenate and you have clarity. So this is gonna be your second pairing that you want to do. Now we're gonna go forward to the third pairing, and obviously we are getting into cavalry. Now your third pairing is still going to be a nuking pairing, and that's going to be Pelagius primary preferably, but it can also be Baibars primary, so there's nothing wrong with that as well. There's obviously different pairings that can be done between this commander, but these 5 pairings, these are like full free-to-play pairings that you can do. Now if you have legendary commanders, obviously these things can alter, these things can change. You can probably play around with the builds and twist them around a little bit if that is your choice. But what the builds that I want to give you options as purely free-to-play, being able to take down either pay-to-win players or easily take down your enemies, whichever that will be. The third one is going to be Pelagius primary with Baibars secondary. Now the reason I'm putting Baibars as secondary, as I said, Baibars can be primary. There's nothing wrong if you have him highly leveled up, or he's, let's say, 6 stars but your Pelagius is only 4 stars and so on. There's nothing wrong with that. They both have cavalry and skill. And if you put Baibars primary, there's going to be a slightly different talent build. Now, and you even have a little bit more mobility with Baibars. Now, I prefer Pelagius primary, and this is the talent builds for Pelagius. You're noticing the skill, it's intact, it's same for every single commander that I do. So this is like a typo when it comes to the skill talent pad that I do on all my skill commanders, and then it comes the cavalry. I prefer the Undying Fury. I prefer more rage restoration for this cavalry build rather than having a little bit additional damage, because the reason I'm saying that, his additional damage is very low, so another 6% will be very insignificant. I would rather have faster skills than having a tiny bit of additional damage. And this is the cavalry. Now, the reason I'm saying Pelagius and Baibars is because they both do nuke damage. You probably noticed by now that the first build is doing nuke damage, skill damage. I like to call it nuke. I'm just trying to make you understand. So you have Sun Tzu, you have Eulji, they both do nuke and skill damage. You have Hermann, you have Osman, they both do nuke and skill damage. Then you have Pelagius and you have Baibars, they both do nuke and skill damage. Obviously, you're gonna bring this with cavalry. Now, moving forward with the 4th build, or I'm sorry, before I go to the 4th build, I said that if you put Baibars primary, it's gonna be a slightly different talent build. So this is the talent build that I have for Baibars. Again, as I said, this is like a typo on the skill pad. Then this is what makes Baibars a little bit more special, if you want to call it like that, because he has the conquering talent pad, and you can get some additional march speed, moment of triumph. I'm not sure for how long that will last, because 10% of your troops will definitely decrease rather rapidly on the battlefield, but you have more mobility with cavalry, which is important. And then this one is gonna last throughout the entire battle, reducing counterattack damage taken, and those are infantry. Infantry, they are based so much on doing counterattack. After that, you go to the cavalry and you have again all the important points plus all the march speed from the cavalry. So again, you can do Baibars primary, but preferably would be Pelagius primary because you also have a little bit of resistance with your Pelagius when Pelagius is primary. Or you can just do the same build on Baibars as you have done on Pelagius, and there's nothing wrong. It's just that I would prefer the march speed if I would have to use Baibars primary. So this is the 3rd build. Now I'm gonna move forward to the 4th build, and the 4th build is gonna be a little bit different. Now the 4th build is gonna be Kusunoki primary, because obviously he's an archer commander, so this is gonna be your 2nd archer build, and I'm gonna pair him with Boudica as a 2nd in command. So Kusunoki primary, Boudica as a 2nd in command with just archers. Now you're noticing that this is the 4th build that I'm giving you, and it has full nuking capabilities, because this is what is gonna take down your target when you're gonna swarm it down, having a large amount of nuke. You're probably gonna say, yes, but I'm very squishy. That is very true. You're very squishy. But let's say they're gonna target your Kusunoki, or they're gonna target your Pelagius, or they're gonna target your Hermann. You still have the other nuking builds which you're gonna do damage to him. So he's gonna focus on one of your nuking, you're gonna focus on one of his nuking. But what's gonna happen to him when he's gonna run out of nuking builds? So that is the question you need to ask yourself. Then is when you're gonna gain advantage over him. So the fourth build is gonna be Kusunoki primary with Boudica secondary. Now again, as I said, I'm gonna make just epic pairings for 5 marches. If you just want to be purely free to play and not use any legendaries, because obviously you're pretty much not gonna have many legendaries. If you have some legendaries, for example, you have a 5511 YSG because you worked on, you can definitely put that YSG with either Hermann, and then you can put Osman with Kusunoki. Obviously Osman is a much better nuker than Boudica, so you can change the things around depending on the commanders that you worked on, because you probably have a legendary you're working on 551 or 5551, or you probably have double C, and then you can alter things a little bit and change a little bit the things around. But the whole point of this video is just trying to help you make 5 nuking builds, so you can take down your target and swarm down your target. So the fourth one is Kusunoki primary with Boudica secondary. You also have a little bit of rage restoration because you have Boudica. That's the reason I chose Boudica for this particular build, and let's say not Osman, because I could have gone Kusunoki and Osman, right? It's still a nuking build, but then you will not have so much rage restoration for this build. That's why Kusunoki primary and Boudica secondary. You also have a little bit of healing, which throughout the battle it adds up. Keep refreshing some of the troops that you have. There you go, rage restoration and healing factor. Boudica also debuffs the target, decreasing attack of target troops by 25%, so there's nothing wrong with her in your army. 1000 damage factor, and then a chance to do some very high additional damage. That's why she's second in command, because she doesn't have any specialization. So you want to have the specialization, which obviously Kusunoki has archers. In the same time, Kusunoki does AoE damage and he boosts the archers, plus he has chance for additional damage factor. So there's only nuking capabilities in this build as well. A lot of damage and debuffing in the same time. Now the build that I would go with Kusunoki, my Kusunoki is not level 60, is the same build that I have done on Hermann. Now this is the same build that I have done on Hermann. This is the same build that you can do on Kusunoki. Again, all these builds you can find them on my Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of the video. In the talent tree section you'll find them over there. So this is gonna be your fourth build with Kusunoki primary and Boudica secondary. Now you already have 4 nuking builds, so you're in a good shape. Now here comes the fifth build. The fifth build is not so much nuking. The fifth build is gonna be more for utility, or if you wanna call it more for tanking. It's gonna be Belisarius primary, and that's gonna be with your cavalry. And my advice would be Joan of Arc secondary. Now why would I go with this particular build? The reason I will go with this particular build is because you'll also have a little bit of healing. You'll have rage restoration, because Belisarius doesn't have this as well. You're gonna have buff for your entire team, and Belisarius can also serve as your tanking team, if you want to call it like that, because he has quite a significantly large amount of defense for the cavalry. He has a lot of mobility, and he's definitely always gonna be primary from your 5 marches. He's definitely gonna be first. Enemy is gonna target him, and the faster he's gonna generate rage, the faster you're gonna start buffing your nuking builds, especially the archer builds, because Joan of Arc does a 30% attack increase to archers when she's doing her first skill. It says over here, increase archers units attack by 30% for 4 seconds. So that means more nuking for your archers. Again, if you actually want to, you can play around a little bit with this. If you think it's better, you can also put Joan of Arc with Kusunoki, and you can put Belisarius primary and Boudica secondary. But I wouldn't say that is worth it, because you're just destroying a lot of nuke. Boudica needs to be second so she can benefit from the skill talent path from Kusunoki. And that's why Kusunoki primary, Boudica secondary. That's why I always do the builds. If you check the skill talents, there is a bunch of skills that not just boost the skill damage but also boost the second in command skill damage. So that's the reason why Kusunoki primary and Boudica secondary. So that 1000 damage factor from Boudica will be very highly boosted from the skill damage, and it's gonna destroy your enemy. So you have 5 nuking builds, and you have a debuffing and support build, which is gonna be Belisarius primary with Joan of Arc secondary. So these are gonna be the 5 marchers that can help you down, can help you out as free to play, to bring down your enemies, to bring down some pay to win players. Just try and nuke down, let's say a YSG, or let's say a Genghis Khan with 5 marchers as free to play, and tell me that's not gonna change your life forever in Rise of Kingdoms. This is my advice. Now, as I mentioned, if you actually have some legendaries you have worked around with, this can actually change. You have a good double C, you want to put Pelagius with double C, or you want to make 3 Cavs marches, not 2 Cavs marches like I advise you. These things can be altered around, but the main priority of this video is trying to make you understand that not CPO being very tanky or Eulji primary will gonna help you down, bring down your target. You need to have an important role, and the roles are gonna be the following. You're either gonna be a tank, and then you have a lot of infantry marchers which are available with the current commanders, and then you're just gonna tank on the field for your team. 2, you're just gonna be support role, and that means that you're gonna have a lot of marchers with support to reduce damage. You have Cleopatra to increase the defense, you have Joan of Arc to increase the stats, you have Constantine. So you either play a very support role, you have Aethelflaed, which does AoE debuffing on everyone. It's only 2 seconds, so you have various support commanders that you can use. So that's the second role you can have, you want to be supporting. Or the third role you can have is going to be full nuking. And in this video I just want to explain you and show you that you can have a full nuking team of 5 marchers on the battlefield that will help you quite a lot. Now, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you guys are gonna find this very helpful. I wanted it to be one of the short series, but it cannot. So until next time, my friends, this is your boy Legend Ronnie signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care.